We all have big God-sized goals and we want to change our lives. But the hardest part that I've found with myself and also just talking to other people is, where do you start? We get lost in the starting phase. We get super jacked up, get a ton of energy. We want to do this thing. And then we start overthinking, and then we never start. I'm going to give you 5 things that I believe that help me. These are things that will give you momentum to change your life forever. The first thing, very important to me, and this was hard for me, this was a struggle, is beat the sun up. Get up before the sun's up, whether it's 5 o'clock, 5:30, 5:15. And this is going to be hard, especially if you're not a morning person. I wasn't a morning person. I was that guy. I'd set my alarm for 6 o'clock and I would just lay there until 7:30. Those negative thoughts start to creep in. That's what I went through, and I struggled with it for a long time. And I hit the snooze button. I went through that phase. You have to beat the sun up. If you're going to outwork others and skill up your life, you've got to start the Kobe effect. You guys have heard of Kobe Bryant. His big thing was, and I'm sure you've heard this story, is, on the off season, he would get up early in the morning, go to a practice, come home, sleep, and eat. Late morning, he'd come back, do another practice, come home, sleep, and eat, and recover. Mid-afternoon, same thing. He would go work out, come home, eat and sleep, recover. That night, same thing. He would go work out, come home, eat, sleep, and recover. He would get 4 training sessions in, whereas the normal guy was getting 1 or 2. So when you've put that much time in, after 3, 4, 5 years, he's just that much better than everyone. That's why he was so good. He put the time in. The only way you're going to skill up and start separating yourselves or catching up is by beating the sun up. Here's a few things that allowed me to really start that habit of getting up in the morning. You can't hit the snooze button. Look at it this way. When you're hitting snooze, you're hitting snooze on your life. Your kids, your family, your wife, you're hitting snooze on all of them. Think of it that way. When you reframe that and look at it from that lens, you're not going to hit snooze near as easy because other people are depending on you. Put an action trigger in place. An action trigger is something that you see that immediately gives you energy. It might be a picture of your kids. Whatever it is, throw it on your phone. When your alarm goes off, you see it. For me, it was my kids. They were badass wrestlers, and they were working really hard. And I thought, man, if they're working hard, Dad better be working hard. And it gave me energy early on when I couldn't get up. Another good technique, Mel Robbins talks about her rocket ship technique. As soon as your eyes open, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As soon as 1 goes off, you're up no matter what. Your feet hit the floor, now you're moving. That's a great technique. Use that. Once you get up and you're moving and you start your day, it's a lot easier. But you have to beat the sun up. That's the only way you can start getting ahead or catching up, depending on where you're at in life. 2, and I know everyone talks about this. This is super important. You got to move. You've got to sweat. You've got to get some exercise. You've got to get those endorphins flowing through your body, that BDNF.
Do your friends ever have a conversation and you just nod along even though you're not really sure what they're talking about?
That BDNF. Dopamine, serotonin. All those things fight stress and they fight anxiety. And oh, by the way, they make you feel really good. They're mood-enhancing chemicals, and there ain't nothing like the feeling you have after a good workout. Sure, you're tired, but you feel like $1,000,000. You do. And you owe that to yourself. That's you time. You're investing in you. And listen, you're not going to want to do these things. You got to make yourself do it. You got to understand that you're investing in yourself. Now, along with exercise, once those chemicals start flowing, it puts you in a flow state that allows you to be real creative and you retain things. Have you ever had that instance where you're maybe right after a workout, you're in the shower and your brain is just going and you come up with these creative ideas and you're like, man, a shower moment. That's what that is. So you've got to get a sweat. You've got to invest in yourself. You've got to invest in yourself physically. Getting a sweat, just moving, is super important. And if you're not used to doing it, start with a 15-minute walk and move up from there. Maybe you start with a 15-minute walk and it goes to 20, then 30, then maybe you start with some light weights. Whatever that looks like for you, you've got to always be progressing. The third one, this is a tough one, but it's super important. It's a little bit mysterious, but it's meditation, quiet time. We all know how crazy this world is with all these tablets, all these smartphones, with YouTube, everything you can do on the internet. Everyone's plugged in. You've got notifications going off left and right, but if you can invest some quiet time, you can start with a meditation now. Invest in 5, 10, 15 minutes of quiet time. And it's a little mysterious. The thoughts that are going to run through your head are like, man, is this working? Am I doing this right? If you're having those thoughts, that means you're doing it right. Just focus on your breath and breathe. And that's going to allow you to have you time. You don't have notifications going off. It helps with like brain clutter, brain fog, those types of things. I really noticed that my clarity and focus got a little better as I was doing this, but I struggled with it. You know, I first started with 3 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 10 to 15 minutes. Now, when I do my 3-mile walk or ruck, the first half of that, which is 20, 25 minutes, it's quiet. And what I do is I stare off into a distance, into like maybe a street light, and I just focus on my breath. So for those first 20 to 25 minutes, it's completely quiet and I can hear the birds chirping and I'm out in nature. And it's very relaxing. It's so good for you. You hear a lot of things about meditation. It's very mysterious, you know, because you do wonder if you're doing right. But get some quiet time for yourself. It's super powerful. A great thing to start off a quiet session too. What I really like to do is focus on what you're grateful for. Really start off with gratitude and abundance, okay? What are the 3 to 5 things you're super grateful for? And they may be common things, but we have to realize that, hey man, I'm super grateful I woke up this morning. I'm grateful I have all my limbs and I'm breathing. My kids are healthy. Start your day off with a I get to mentality as opposed to, oh, I have to do this, this, and this. Remember, I get to is totally different than I have to. It's super important for you to start your day off that way. And that's what's helped me with meditation, is really to start those 2 to 3 minutes with gratitude. Now the fourth one, I really have fell in love with this, but it's just learning. It's reading a book. Every day you need to have your hands on a book. Start with 8, 9, 10 pages per day, but make it mandatory. Make it daily. Some people read 20, 30, 40 pages a day. If you really want to skill stack and skill up, we have this amazing brain right up here between our ears that allows us to learn. So we have to take advantage of books. There's so much information out there. If you're not taking advantage of learning your skill or your craft, constantly getting better, then the person next to you that might be, he's going to pass you. You don't stay neutral, okay? You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And if you're learning, if you pick up a book daily, you're learning and you're increasing your skill daily. And the people that aren't, oh well, you're going to be that much farther ahead of them. And really, let's be honest, with all the information that's available, it'd be stupid of us not to be learning daily, right? It's just an effort thing. Okay, the last one, number 5, and this kind of coincides with your book. I do this right after I read. I really like to journal right after I read. And listen, I don't do this daily, but I notice the days that I don't get as much done. I'm not talking about a journal like writing down your life, emotions, and thoughts. There's a journal for that too as well, I'm sure. But what I'll do is I'll write down my daily to-do list, the things I want to accomplish that day. I'll also write down notes from my book session. If I read 20 pages, some things that really caught on to me, I'll write down in my journal. I'll write down some things maybe that I didn't get accomplished the day before. When you're reading or learning, if you write something down, you're going to retain it a whole lot better. Listen, I can read, but if something really throws me for a loop and really gets my attention, I'm writing it down so I can hold on to it. Because what's written down is retained. So let me run through those one more time. These 5 things are the things that I did to help start momentum to change your life. The first one, you got to beat the sun up. Very important. Don't hit the snooze button. Remember, you're hitting snooze on your life, your family, and your spouse. Number 2, make sure you get exercise in. Get those chemicals flowing throughout your body. Remember, they're mood enhancing. You're investing in you, and it puts you in a creative state, flow state, alpha wave state. 3, make sure you get some quiet time. Unplug from all your phone, your tablet, everything. Take 10 to 15 minutes to unplug and invest in yourself and just focus on gratitude. And remember, have to do something is different than I get to do something. The 4th thing, invest in your skill. Read, learn daily, 10, 20 pages. It allows you to skill stack. Make sure you're reading daily. And the last one, make sure you journal. The journal allows you to prepare. The more prepared you are, the better off you're going to be, okay? And it allows you to prepare your days, set daily goals, set to-do lists, and also, like I said, you can put notes from your reading in there. And remember, what you write will retain.